Welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're going to completely dismantle how we think about building products and, honestly, replace it with a rigorous, evidence-based approach. If you've ever banged your head against the wall wondering why certain products fail even when the underlying tech is absolutely brilliant, well, you're in exactly the right place. We're stepping away from personal biases and jumping straight into the deep end of customer development, modern experimentation, and AI-powered research. So let's kick things off with a question that, quite frankly, haunts every startup founder and corporate strategist out there. Why do we waste so many resources building things that just completely fail in the market? I mean, it is a massive problem. We're talking about countless hours and billions of dollars poured into solving problems that don't actually exist. We get so blinded by our own supposedly brilliant ideas that we literally forget to check if the market actually agrees with us. Eric Ries absolutely hit the nail on the head here. He points out that founders constantly fall victim to their own biases and just skip straight to building. Take Kodak Gallery, for instance. They blindly assumed people wanted these highly produced, wedding-style greeting cards for everyday holidays, simply because their wedding cards were selling well. They asked, hey, can we build this? Instead of stopping to ask, wait, do consumers actually recognize they have this problem in the first place? We have got to stop jumping to the solution before we verified the pain. Okay, so here is our blueprint for today. We're going to cover the trap of founder bias, treating business as a grand experiment, why we need to get out of the building, AI-powered customer research, and finally, evidence-based leadership. Let's get right into it. Starting with part 1, the trap of founder bias. The absolute core of founder bias is that old delusion of build it and they will come. Traditional product development relies heavily on arguing by analogy. You might hear a founder say, well, just like progressive image loading made the web popular, our brand new rendering tech is going to make this product a massive hit. They're assuming that because X worked in the past, Y is totally going to work now. And that is incredibly dangerous when your market is completely unknown. And this brings us to the classic Marketing Requirements Document, or MRD. Relying on this traps you inside your own echo chamber. You end up compiling feature requests based on internal guesses rather than external reality. You've got marketing, sales, and engineering sitting around a boardroom prioritizing a wish list for a market that might not even exist yet. It fundamentally treats a startup like it's just a miniature version of a massive established corporation. And spoiler alert, it isn't. So, what do we do instead? We shift our mindset to this brilliantly simple cycle, the build, measure, learn loop. This right here is the fundamental engine of evidence-based product development. It forces you to establish a baseline, test your logic with real customers, and then make a cold, hard, objective decision to either pivot or persevere. Which leads us perfectly into section 2, business as a grand experiment. I absolutely love this historical example. Back in the 1880s, Frederick Taylor relentlessly conducted over 20,000 individual experiments just to discover the optimal way to cut steel. Think about that, 20,000. He wasn't satisfied with the folk wisdom of the day. He wanted empirical truth. We need to apply that exact same scientific rigor to our businesses right now. We've got to subject our business theories to that same level of repeated empirical testing. To run these kinds of modern experiments, Ashmoria's methodology gives us a fantastic tool, the problem interview. It breaks down into 3 very specific steps. First, product risk. What exact problem are you actually solving? Second, market risk. How are customers dealing with this today, and what are the existing alternatives? And third, customer risk. Is this a viable segment that truly feels the pain? You have to tackle these risks before you write a single line of code. Now, when those tests inevitably fail or things break, we have to investigate the root causes to abandon our personal biases. We use tools like Eric Ries's 5 Whys. You start with a surface problem, say a blown fuse stopping production. But when you ask why 5 times, you trace that seemingly technical fault all the way down to a deep-seated human error, like a missing strainer due to a training issue. This is how you deconstruct complex structural arguments and discover what's actually failing in your business model. All right, moving to section 3, getting out of the building. How do we get this empirical data? By following Steve Blank's legendary battle cry, get out of the building. It sounds so simple, but man, is it profoundly difficult for a lot of teams. It demands that you leave your boardroom guesswork behind because the facts, they do not live in your office. Facts only exist outside, where the customers are and where the market is actually operating. There's a really stark contrast to understand here. Traditional product development, that's for big companies operating in known markets. Their product specs are driven by a market that already exists. But customer development is for startups navigating the total unknown. Your initial product spec comes from a founder's vision, and your one job is to find out if a market for that vision actually exists in the real world. Next up, Section 4, AI-powered customer research. Right now, we are operating in what strategist Beata Mosór calls liquid modernity. It's a high-volatility economic environment where traditional structures are just dissolving. Macroeconomic data and regulatory frameworks are constantly shifting. So to achieve product-market fit in this liquid economy, where market logic changes in weeks, not years, relying on slow, traditional research methods is basically a death sentence. We need hyper-fluid strategies. And this is exactly where AI becomes a total game changer for defending your structural arguments. Mosór's AI research toolbox shows us how to inject massive velocity into the learning loop. You use fireflies to capture the exact nuances of live customer interviews. Then you feed that structured text into Gemini Advanced to synthesize big data and market trends into high-level scenarios. Finally, using Google AI Studio, you format all of this into precision-adjusted frameworks. It is incredibly powerful. To put that into perspective, check out this recent real-world application in the automotive industry. Mosór's team took live field observations and synthesized them into completely fleshed-out business model scenarios. By feeding transcribed workshop insights into iteratively retrained AI models, they mapped out an incredibly complex value chain and developed a full product strategy on a tight 4-week deadline. That's the power of big data and AI-driven atomic research. And finally, Section 5, evidence-based leadership. So what does this actually look like in an organizational structure? Looking at Mosór's 10-sprint product strategy framework, it becomes super clear that this isn't just for early-stage startups. Even mature, scale-up businesses have to rely on continuous research, analyzing macroeconomic context, and real-time validation, rather than static, multi-year planning. The liquid economy literally demands it. The big takeaway here? Modern leadership is no longer about sitting in a corner office playing Caesar, giving a thumbs up or thumbs down to ideas based on your own gut feeling. That era is over. Evidence-based leadership is about building the actual systems that empower your teams to conduct this rapid, AI-powered empirical testing. You aren't the idea generator anymore. You are the architect of the experimentation engine. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to challenge your own current product roadmaps. Take a really hard look at what your team is building right now. Are you building for a known, validated market, backed by empirical evidence, regulatory context, and rigorous customer research? Or, if you're being truly honest with yourself, are you just guessing? It's time to get out of the building, embrace the evidence, and let the market tell you the truth.